Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin is now in a jail cell after being convicted of murder in the death of George Floyd. Late this afternoon, after some 10 hours of deliberations in all, the jury said it had reached a verdict.
Welcome to Brutally Honest Talk Radio, where you will learn about an issue minus the BS. We don't always say what you want to hear, but what you need to hear about the issues of the day. Here's your host, Inger, along with Elmo, with his political insight and commentary.
And good evening once again, day 91 of the Biden administration, though tonight in Minneapolis at the intersection that has become a memorial known as George Floyd Square. Peaceful crowds gathered yet again, not to protest, but to mark a change, a new message of accountability, and just perhaps a bellwether moment in the relationship between law enforcement in our country and communities of color. Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin is now in a jail cell after being convicted of murder in the death of George Floyd. Late this afternoon, after some 10 hours of deliberations in all, the jury said it had reached a verdict.
Count 1, unintentional second-degree murder, guilty. Count 2, third-degree murder, guilty. Count 3, second-degree manslaughter, guilty.
So, justice is served. The reason why it is served is because there was a jury of 12 that came together. They listened to evidence, listened to the prosecutor, listened to the defense, all the witnesses that took the witness stand, and then they went in a deliberation room and voted. They talked it over for a long time. This is why this is a great country. Do I really know if what they voted is what should happen? Well, I wasn't on the jury. Okay? The country has seen 5 minutes or 10 minutes of video, that shocking video. The whole country has seen that. And that's a short amount of time and a short amount of evidence compared to all of the evidence that's submitted in a courtroom for 8 hours a day for 3 or 4 weeks. So with everyone's testimony, everyone got a chance to talk. I mean, both sides are fighting, trying to win. And then 12 people vote on it. And that's why I say justice was served. I trust the judicial system, the way that it's set up. I'm trusting that this jury, which I assume was mixed with a variety of races, men and women, young and old, white, black, Hispanic, maybe other races on the jury, that they voted out of believing that based on what they saw, that this would be the correct verdict, and not because they're worried about people rioting or the pressure of the whole country is watching and all of that kind of thing. Now, from the beginning, when you heard some people saying, we want justice for George Floyd, well, some people may have meant revenge when they said that. Floyd, rest his soul, he's gone. Nothing or nobody can bring him back. So what does justice look like? Justice, the person who was on trial for murder, being tried for murder, and in this case, being convicted on 3 different counts. So some people want revenge. That's not justice. Some people want to avenge death. That's not justice. I just trust that the people that were on that jury voted for what they felt. Hopefully they weren't putting pressure on each other, and that they voted for what they thought was correct and true. In another sense, another part of this is a good thing for the country, because I can guarantee you, just as sure as you're listening to me talking and that I am sitting here tonight, that if Chauvin was set free and found not guilty, that there would have been rioting nationwide like you'd never seen before. It would have topped the level of anything that we saw last year. I mean, people were out on the street. They're already out, waiting to hear the verdict. They could have listened to it or watched it wherever they were. They wanted to assemble and come together. Some of the people are probably armed and ready to invoke more destruction. And I don't want to see that. I want there to be peace. Like I said, whatever you may think about the verdict, that's one thing. But another thing is for sure, there's some kind of relief that is coming from this. Some people have been hit heavier and harder than others from this trial, from the murder. From the murder, I can say that definitely because he had been convicted of third-degree murder. And it's just not, it wouldn't have been good for the country. Businesses that had nothing to do with any of this would have suffered and been damaged. More people hurt, more people taken to jail, more police officers hurt. So that's a good thing. Some people have smiled as a result of this, right? I'm not talking about hatred of wanting to see somebody go to prison for decades, or if someone gets the death penalty and someone's on the sidelines cheering for that. I'm just talking about some kind of relief and some kind of closure. It's been in the news for a long time. There's a lot of other things going on, and I just like to see people move on. I want to see the country move on. But I guarantee it would have been rioting like never before. And that's just not good. It's the truth of the matter. Rioting is wrong. Just because you get upset, you get mad, that doesn't give you the right to riot. But that obviously didn't stop people last year. That didn't stop people. This isn't going to change black people being killed by police. That's not going to change. I believe that police officers may be more hesitant now to do it where they may have done it before. And it should never happen unless it's self-defense. There shouldn't be unarmed people of any color being shot by the police or killed by the police. And when police officers are being threatened, then they're fighting with them. There's combat that's going on. Not when somebody's handcuffed and face down. I watched with my family Tuesday afternoon, breaking news on ABC. And one person that commentated was a lawyer. Don't remember her name. A black woman. She said that she's been a lawyer for 27 years and was taking her first year of law school in 1991. So I guess she's around my age. And she began to get emotional and crying while she's reporting on the story and commenting. One of the things she said was that there's an 18-year-old young man in her family. I don't believe it's her son, but may have been a nephew or a cousin. Somebody in her family, a young man, 18 years old, moved to South Africa. I'm not sure why he moved to South Africa, but her comment was that he feels safer in South Africa than he did in the United States because of being worried or having fear of police killing him or what the police would do to him. So let me say this. The number one killer of black people is other black people. Secondly, he is safer in South Africa than he is in the United States. And that's because South African black people are not murdering each other. I know they have these tribal wars that come up here and there once in a while. I mean, there have been thousands of people in these tribal wars that have been slaughtered in a matter of days. By and large, blacks are not committing crime like that. This is basically an African American thing, where blacks in America are going through just the crime. Just looking at the numbers, okay, the percentage of black people that are criminals, and we making up 50% of the crime in America. There's no other country on the planet where that's going on, and I'm not big on excuses, so I don't want to hear why. I don't want to hear why this is happening, but I can tell you this, that every problem in society stems from the home. And I know that the vast majority of men in prison, black or any color, did not grow up with a father in the home. All right, so I'm a traditional conservative and a Christian conservative. And if you get more men, more fathers beating their sons behinds, you'll have less men going to jail. I'm just speaking in general now. Okay, what happened to Floyd should not have happened. I'm just saying. I'm just saying that in general, this is the way it is with crime. You know, it is what it is. Now we're gonna go to Politifact, one of my favorite sites when it comes to news. Interesting the way that they break down and talk about different things that are going on. Some of these or most of these are Facebook posts. This from Facebook. Japan's prime minister met with Vice President Kamala Harris holding a Trump 2024 sign and wearing a red baseball cap. Pants on fire, which is like the worst lie, like a nothing close to the truth. Foot Locker donated $200 million to BLM. False. Schools stopped teaching children cursive so they wouldn't be able to read the U.S. Constitution and other historical documents. Pants on fire. All right, and this is a quote from Terry McAuliffe. Terry McAuliffe, McAuliffe. Quote, I restored felons' rights, 173,000, more than any governor in the history of America. That's mostly true. So this is from politifact.com. You can go there and any of the statements that they have, you can click on it and it'll elaborate and go into more. Okay, Uber is in the news. Good news for Uber. They had a good month last month, and this is just a sign of the economy. They're one company, but there are many companies that are coming back and doing well, and the economy is restoring itself after a terrible year last year. So Uber says that there are more rides booked in March than any month since the company's inception. And I know they've been around almost 10 years, maybe more than 10 years. I mean, the best month that they've ever had. So people are going out. People are spending money. Obviously, they need a Uber. They need a ride here or there. And for this to happen, for them to reach that number or break that record, there's got to be a lot of people clubbing, going to parties, going to restaurants, going to different social gatherings. I mean, Friday night and Saturday night life is alive and well. So it was just good to hear that. Right now, on the Minneapolis rioting, you know that there was rioting going on because of this young man, I think 20 years old, who got stopped because his license tags expired. They stopped him, and then things went sideways real fast, and he started resisting arrest. And a woman who said she meant to pull her taser, and to stun him, pulled a gun and shot him at one time, killing him. And there were riots that ensued as a result of that. So within the last few days, during some of the rioting, along with the weapons that they're using, right, the weapons that were being used, throwing frozen soda cans, okay, depending on what part of the country you're in. I'm from up north where you say pop. In the South, we say soda. Took me a year to change that and get used to just saying soda or soda pop. But Coke, Pepsi, Mountain Dew in a can. Frozen, okay? So it's hard. It's like a brick. It's like it's a hard frozen chunk. A chunk of ice the size of a soda can with a metal or aluminum lining around it, and throwing these at cops' helmets and hitting them in the head. So that can really hurt. And some people were reporting this story and speaking light of it. So just think about the fact that for somebody to do that, that's premeditated. You got to take your can of soda and put it in the freezer for this purpose. Nobody puts soda in the freezer. Nobody does that to drink it. So someone is premeditating doing this, putting it putting it in the freezer, I mean, I guess it is easier to throw and travels further than a brick, and that it technically can't be considered a lethal weapon like a brick can. So that's serious stuff. If you think that it wouldn't hurt to get hit in the head with a block of ice that you can hold in your hand, frozen solid surrounded by an aluminum can, then let somebody freeze a can of soda and stand you up against a wall and throw these cans at you until one hits you in the head. And we'll see how you like it. All right, hey, and before I forget, because I got one more story to go on, but I want to mention while I'm thinking of it, everybody, please click subscribe if you haven't already. Click the notification bell. Share this video. Share this episode on so many different platforms now, not just YouTube, but also Spotify, Rumble, iTunes. You can find us on there, so please just share us. Keep coming back. We just appreciate you very much, and glad to see you anytime you show up. Take us with you wherever you go. Biden bringing the troops home. More good news. I've wanted them to come home like after the first 5 years. All right. You see things going sideways where there was some progress that was made, not just in Afghanistan, but in Iraq also. But I've learned something from history looking at this. You can't change these governments. You can't change them. I mean, I know we did that with Japan and Germany. The culture there is very different from the Muslim culture, and where government and religion is mixed together. And so what always happens is the United States posts up in there, and we set up things, and we try to work with the leadership and convert them to capitalism. They don't want that. Some people don't want capitalism. Some don't want freedom. I like Donald Trump's approach, where he said, look, we're not going to war with anybody. War is expensive, not just in lives, but in money. And when someone is a threat to the United States, we're going to kill their leader. So that's what he did with ISIS. He said that he was going to eradicate ISIS and cut the head off of the snake. So Soleimani and al-Baghdadi took him out. And I haven't heard anything from ISIS since then. That's a very good philosophy. So I would rather do that than, I don't know what it costs, like millions of dollars a day for the United States to be in these other countries. You can have a few troops over there. A few. I mean, there's 2,500 in Afghanistan. The countries that are our allies, like Great Britain, France, Spain, wherever it may be, I don't know. I don't know how many troops. Just keep it to a minimum. And we bring back these troops, bring them home, let them be in military bases here like Camp Lejeune and Fort McPherson. It's a whole lot cheaper. Doing that can actually help us to get closer to balancing the budget and helping to get rid of the deficit. So I don't know whose decision this actually was, but I was glad to hear Biden come out and say that our troops are coming home. The troops themselves, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, they want to come home. I mean, it's okay to go and travel and be stationed here there for a little while, but them coming home, that is a good thing. That was good news to hear. Thank you everybody for checking us out. This is Brutally Honest Talk Radio. This is Elmo the Conservative. Inger is still away, and we'll see her at some time in the future. But for now, it's just me doing the show. Hey, keep checking back with us, and you got my perspective on this today, on these things. I'll catch you next time. Brutally Honest Talk Radio, and remember, you can reach us at brutehonestradio@gmail.com. The announcer is going to give it to you again. Take care. Be safe. God bless America.
Thank you for listening to Brutally Honest Talk Radio. If there's a topic you'd like us to cover, reach out at brutehonestradio@gmail.com. That's BRUT, honestradio@gmail.com.